And we're very pleased today to be talking to John Addis, the show director for Magical, and the singer from Magical, Eden Espinosa.
Yes.
And dare I say, hometown girl who makes good?
Please say, yes, hometown girl.
So you actually grew up here in Anaheim, didn't you?
I did. I'm an Orange County girl. I grew up here, yeah, Southern California native.
Now, do you remember the first time that you came to Disneyland when you were growing up?
You know what? I don't remember the very first time because I had various family members that were involved in entertainment here at the park all throughout my childhood, so I came an awful lot when I was younger, and Disney was very much a part of my childhood and adolescence, and young adult and adult life. I mean, it's been...
Well, now, perhaps you remember your first job here at Disneyland. What was that?
That I do remember. It was 1996, I believe. The first year they did Christmas Fantasy Parade, and it was the first year they had live carolers in the parade, and I was one of those live carolers.
Yeah, were you one of the ones that was handing out the little song sheets that people would sing along with?
I think that happened after, because when we did it, it was just, you know, there's a special magic Christmas time this year. I remember it.
Of course, and the choreography. I can tell. I love it.
A lot of our readers, of course, remember you from a number of things, not the least of which Spirit of Pocahontas.
Yes.
And did you have any favorite things that you did during the time that you were working here at Disneyland?
I think when I did Animazement, the musical, just singing the montage that Bruce Healey arranged with Pocahontas, Hercules, and Quasimodo, that moment it's still one of my favorite Disney moments that I've ever been involved in. I loved doing Groove 66, the a cappella group here at California Adventure, Minnie's Christmas Party. I was just talking to Denny Newell, the director of that show. I loved that show because it was a throwback to the old Disney shows that used to be at Carnation Plaza with the guy and the girl and then all the characters, and it was just a simple character, you know, driven show about Minnie's Christmas Party, and it was a blast. It was a blast.
That was a charming show. I'm sure our viewers or our readers remember that well.
Yeah.
And then they started doing these really spectacular fireworks shows here at Disneyland. And Steve Davison, when he came in for the 45th anniversary, sort of came up with some new concepts, and you guys ran with them.
Absolutely, and I have to say that Stephen Davison was a creative director for Magical. He put the concept together and graciously kind of turned it over to me to make it become a reality. Of course, Stephen has been with me every step of the way, and Stephen is a perfectionist, and I completely appreciate that. We have gone from, the show has changed literally in the last 2 weeks. We've changed the show to where it is now, and I think Stephen and I talked last night. We're both very happy. We're still doing some tweaks, but we will. It'll fall into place very soon now.
Well, these fireworks shows, you know, in the past we had fireworks and we had music, and then the fireworks shows became more of a show with a director, and of course with the wonderful singing and acting and so on. And that brings us back to. Do you remember the first show that you saw with the? I believe it was in 2000. The Magic in the Stars, when we had and any of those shows, any singers in particular that you remember?
Just the entire experience of those have always, like, they always tug at your heart, you know, they always make me cry. The Christmas one, once it starts snowing, you know, it's just Disney always has a way of, you know, giving that little extra heartfelt tug, and it's so cool to be on the other side.
And that's it. Did you ever think that it would be your voice that's up there, out there, giving everyone that extra?
I didn't. I always wanted it to. I'm not gonna lie. I always wanted it to. You know, when Fantasmic came out, you know, the male and female vocalists, I was like, oh, I want to do that one day. And when I got the call, it was immediately yes. You know, okay, well, here are the. I was like, I don't care. I don't care about the terms. I'm doing it, no matter what.
So now, were you in New York at that time? Because of course, I don't think our readers have to be told. You then went on to do a number of other things, not the least of which 2 very big Broadway shows.
Yeah. I wasn't in New York at the time. I was. I've been living back here in LA since Wicked opened the Los Angeles production. So I've been living back home for about 2 years now. So I was here when they asked me to be a part of this, and yeah.
Now, the shows that you've done live on stage, you've done them in some rather small theaters and some awfully big theaters.
Yes.
But this has got to be, I would say, probably the biggest venue.
I mean, the sky. Who could ask for a better platform?
The sky's the limit. It's true.
I know. The entire sky, all of Disneyland. It's very, very cool. It's a different. Nobody's seeing me. Nobody's seeing, expression or inflection or, emotion. And so it's really important for me in the studio that emotion came across, so that all the acting I could put into it was there in the vocal. So it's a cool.
I think it
cool
I think it totally worked too.
Good.
Because I totally feel when you're singing "Baby Mine." I get a tear every time I hear you sing it. So it's beautiful.
I've already heard from 2 people who saw the show that said during Baby Mine they started tearing up, just as you remembered doing that.
Yeah.
So you do feel there had to be a slightly different technique in your singing, in your performance.
Definitely. I mean, it was definitely it's a definitely more intimate technique. I don't have to project to the back of the theater, but like I said before, the emotion and the intent was very important to me, and I really wanted that to come across. I didn't want it to just be, this Disney is very much a part of my life, and it's very important to me, and so I wanted every fiber of my being to be in that recording, and I hope that people feel that.
Now, there are a number of songs that are in this show, both heart-touching and funny and memorable. How was that song selection decided on for Magical?
Stephen, when he came up with the concept, decided of the story that he wanted to tell, the magic of childhood, the magic of a mother's love, magic of love's first kiss, how these all work. So as we started working through, the songs pretty much fell into place. With Dumbo, that just happened. There he is. That just happens to be Stephen and my favorite song, one of our favorite Disney songs that doesn't get heard that much, and now it will.
Yes.
When you were recording, and of all the songs that you got to go through, did you have a particular favorite among them?
Baby Mine was one of them. I loved doing Mary Poppins Chim Chim Cheree. It's one of my favorite movies, and I love the music from that. And I really enjoyed Greg Smith's original tune. I mean, in the opening and then again at the end, it has that classic Disney triumphant fanfare, and it just brings you into it right away, and it's breathtaking. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that is an original song for the Disneyland fireworks, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, which
Greg Smith, who did all the arrangements for the show, did an amazing job with all of these. And again, I stress the fact that this show is completely new, top to bottom, with Eden singing throughout the piece, all new choir voices. We recorded at Sony Studios with an 80-piece orchestra.
Wow.
Doesn't get better than that. I have a great job.
It is beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we go, I do have to also ask, I understand you're working on a cabaret show?
I am.
And a recording.
Yes, I'm in the early development stages of album, but I started working on a concert late last year when I was finishing up the run of Wicked. We took it to New York in March and played Joe's Pub. We had 4 sold-out shows there, and bringing it back to LA and doing a one-night show at the Ford Amphitheater on July 24th, and the show's called Me, and it's more of a concert feel than a cabaret. There's no storyline in it. It's kind of implied through song, the journey. There definitely is a journey, but yeah, I'm really excited. It's a different side of me that a lot of my theater fans haven't seen, and just songs and artists that have influenced me throughout my life. So,
well, I know our readers will be keeping their eye out for that, to catch that. And then, of course, everyone will be able to catch the album when it appears.
Yes.
And we'll be looking for that. And thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today to talk about this wonderful new fireworks show. Thank you.
Thank you.